The state television company Western Armenia represents the most important news for today. Good day. Today's broadcast. The 100th anniversary of Charles Aznavour. Victims of Western Armenia. Araksya, Chepechyan. The Artsakh initiative condemns the housing program. The Greek community of Eastern Armenia paid tribute to the memory of the victims of the genocide of Armenians and Pontos. The well-preserved famous castles and fortresses of Western Armenia. Fortress City Heritage. Armenian and the Armenian Heritage exclusive collection of the city of Ani was presented in the Museum of the History of Eastern Armenia. During his musical career, he recorded more than 1,200 songs in different languages: in French, English, Italian, Spanish, German, Armenian, Russian, Neapolitan. He has written and co-written more than 1,000 compositions, both for himself and for other musicians. He is one of the most famous French-talking singers. For more than 60 years, the world-famous Armenian has been singing about love, loyalty, devotion, bohemianism, madness and intelligence, betrayal, hatred, loneliness, and many, many more human emotions and feelings with his unique, genius performances. Charles Aznavour, Shahnur Vaghinak Aznavourian, was born in Paris in Armenian immigrant family, Misha and Khanar Aznavourian. He started singing at an early age, but gained great fame when he left the first 30 years of his life behind after his extremely successful performance in 1965 at the Olympia Hall in Paris. Since then, his songs have been performed all over the world, not only by him but also by other great singers and songwriters of the time. Aznavour has starred in many films, is the author of several books, by which he very frankly presents his whole life to the reader. In 1988, in the days of earthquake in Spitak, he immediately came to Armenia, created the Aznavour for Armenia Foundation, and recorded the song For You Armenia with the world-famous musicians of that time. And the money from the concert was transferred to thousands of families suffered by the earthquake. At the same time, with art since 1995, he has represented Armenia in many international diplomatic instances. One of the victims of Western Armenia, Araksya Chepechyan, born in 1880 in the city of Aintab. She studied at the local Haikanusian school. After finishing it, she continued her studies first in Aintab and then American Women's College in Marash, worked as a teacher at Marash College and Aintab Educational College. In 1912, went to England and attended courses at Woodbrook Theological College. In 1914, returned to Aintab. In 1915, she was deported along with her family. Arriving in Derzor, she helped the Armenian refugees. However, when Zeki Bey was appointed there, the extermination of the remnants of Armenians who reached Derzor began. Araksya Chepechyan was killed in 1916 by Zeki Bey. She was a victim of the genocide against Armenians. The initiative for ensuring the needs of the people of Artsakh, which is composed of dozens of non-governmental organizations in Artsakh, condemns the plan of the government of Eastern Armenia to provide housing needs of the people of Artsakh. Despite the proposal presented by us several times, the main part of which was reflected in the statement adopted at the March 20 initiative rally. The mentioned decision of the Republic of Armenian government does not take into account either the strategic goal of the collective return of Artsakh people or the need for communal settlement nor a number of other fundamental principles and conditions. Moreover, the adopted approach is not able to fully meet even the individual and family housing needs of the majority of forcibly displaced persons. Therefore, it will greatly promote the further immigration of the people of Artsakh from Armenian homeland and the deepening of the level of poverty, said the statement. A memorial service was held in the St. Sarkis Church of Yerevan, dedicated to the memory of the innocent victims of the genocide committed against the Armenians and Greeks of Pontos in Ottoman Empire in 1915-1922. After the funeral ceremony, Eduard Polatov, the chairman of the Greek community of Eastern Armenia, gave a short speech at the church. The meeting was attended by representatives of the Greek community and public figures. May 19 has been approved by the Greek Parliament as a commemoration day of the genocide against Pontos in the Ottoman Empire since 1994. Now about the well-preserved famous castles and fortresses of Western Armenia. The fortress city of Ughtis, or Olti, is located on the bank of the Olti River, a right-hand affluent of the Chorokokh River. In ancient times, it was in the Oghaghe province of the Taik province of Metaik. Great Armenia. It was mentioned for the first time by the 10th century historian Hovannes Draskanatskertsi. However, it existed from earlier time. It first belonged to the Mamikonians dynasty, then in past to the Bagratun dynasty. In the 10th century, it was the center of Tikhun rule. In 10,001, together with the Kingdom of Artsakh, it was annexed to Byzantine Empire. Later, it came under the control of Seljuk Turks, Mongols, and then Akoyulu and Karakoyulu Turkmen nomadic tribes. From the 16th century, it was connected to the Ottoman Empire. In 1877-1878, after the Russo-Turkish War, it passed to the Russian Empire and was included in Olti district of Kars region, becoming its center. At the beginning of April 1918, it was captured by Turkish troops invading Transcaucasia, who displaced and almost completely massacred the local Armenians. In 1919, on May, it was joined to Eastern Armenia. In 1920, September, Turkish troops led by Kazim Karabekir captured Olti and the fortress of Ughtis. Olti is now in occupied Western Armenia. You can watch the video about Ughtis fortress city on the Facebook page of Western Armenia TV. Western Armenia TV in the stories of Armenian and Armenian heritage has already managed to present to you how we can recognize the Armenian Khachkar, why Armenians love pomegranate, and who can read the noches. We can talk for a long time Armenian and Armenian heritage because the Armenian highlands are one of the centers of ancient civilization. This time, Western Armenia TV will tell you about the Armenian calendar. The calendar has been used since ancient times as evidenced by rare archaeological finds, one of which is currently kept in the History Museum of Armenia. Otherworldly, it is built, but scientists studying the sign of it found out that it is actually a calendar and depicts of the division of the year into 12 months, found at Sanahin and attributed to BC in the first millennium. Two of the rock paintings found in the Gerama and Vartanis mountain revealed interesting facts. The scientists came to the conclusion that they have an astronomical nature and are also a calendar. With the rays and dashes coming out of the disk, they express the periodically of the changing of the phase of the moon, which was the basis for the compilation of calendars. There are also bibliographical references to the calendar. A testimony of Moses Khorenatsi is noteworthy. In his History of the Armenians, the historian states that during the reign of the Armenian king Artsakh, paying serious attention to the existing calendar, certain regulations were introduced into it. This fact alone is a clear evidence of the important role the calendar played in the life of Armenians long before our era, particularly in connection with their main occupation, agriculture and animal husbandry. You can read more details about this on the website, the Western Armenia TV. Exclusive collection of the city of Ani was presented in the Museum of the History of Eastern Armenia. The official reopening ceremony took place at the permanent exhibition halls of city Ani, Bagratuni's world-famous capital in Armenia in the 10th-14th century. In the Museum of the History of Eastern Armenia, about 350 objects from Ani in Dvin, books, crosses, incense burners, 12th and 14th century children's silk outerwear found in Ani, pottery and glass items, miniatures, were presented as the part of exhibition, as well as monuments from Meghri, Haghartsin, Noravang, Karni, Hovanavang, and Khecharis from the monuments. During a briefing with journalist David Bogosyan, director of the History Museum of Eastern Armenia, noted that after a rather long pause, an opportunity was given to present to public one of the important parts of the permanent exhibition of the History Museum of Armenia, one of the constituent part of our cultural heritage, the collection of the Tradition Exhibition Hall of Ani. There are many unique items that have an interesting context and will certainly appeal to our visitor, making the museum one of the favorite places to visit, said Bogosyan. It's no secret that the objects and things found as a result of the exhibition are a living testimony of the rich culture and centuries-old history of the Armenian people. So the History Museum does everything to properly present them to the international community. This was the main basic news for today. I wish you peace and harmony. Now you can listen to a musical performance. Goodbye.